Looks like we're live on my end.
Absolutely. So we'll go. Go 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Cash Flow Dojo: How to Build Your Home on Multiple Streams of Income. And I have with me Hone Tai, and is my partner in crime today. And Hone, welcome to our first program here.
I'm excited to be in the dojo, Martin.
Yeah, get in the dojo.
Right.
So, I mean, it's amazing to me that 95 to 99% of people out there they live off of 1 to 2 streams of income, and the whole premise of what we're putting together here is that there's another way, there's a better way to obtain security in this world, and that is simply by creating additional streams of income, and which will create kind of security for you and your family as you kind of go through life. So tell me what multiple streams of income means to you.
Well, I like that you said that. It's scary that most people have either one or two streams of income. The other thing that's scarier is that in retirement, they're going to have one or two income streams for retirement. So for a lot of people, they're banking on a 401k that's going to be there and maybe Social Security. But neither of those are guaranteed. And that 401k you have to put into. So you may not be set up to retire on that income stream when it comes time to it. So people need to look way further ahead and also think multiple streams of income for retirement as well. But what it means to me is just having that safety net when one stream may go away, but you have multiples, right? We do this risk mitigation in our lives all over the place. We have airbags in our car. We have seatbelts in our car. The car itself was designed to have a crumple zone. There's all of these things that protect us in a car. But when it comes to our income, which is the lifeblood of our whole family, we only have one. And I think it's silly because just as easily as you got that job, it can go away. And it could be off of somebody's emotions. It could be your boss is having a bad day and it's like, all right, got to let you go. Sorry.
So it's almost like if 100%, another way to look at it is 100% of your lifeline, that income stream is reliant on one person and the decisions that they can make that affect you.
Right. It's crazy that people just base it off of that. It's like a rope, like a rock climbers, when they have rope that hold them up, it's not one strand. It's multiple ropes that are tied together. And so if a couple get cut, they're still good. I we do this everywhere else in our life except
Mm.
for our income. It's so crazy.
So what are some of the areas where you can have multiple streams of income that you've experienced?
Well, one of the things that I tell people is that if you're interested in becoming wealthier, then help other people become wealthier. And what I mean by that, there are a lot of businesses out there, and if they are selling a product or a service, if you sell that product or service for them, they will gladly pay you a referral, right? So that could be an income stream right there. You can create your own product and service and then sell that. And then you can also piggyback off of other things that are available, even things like multi-level marketing, even though they get a bad rap, that one will teach you skills that you need to develop a business, but two, it also gives you that product or service that's already developed for you so that you can begin the process of creating another stream of income. So that there's so many opportunities that are available. I think people just need to look outside of the box of that normal 9 to 5.
And we're not even attempting to cover all the various areas that you could have multiple streams of income within a 30-minute segment.
Right.
So I think this is more like towards introductory purposes.
Yeah.
Give us the industries that you've fixated on and you've become a student of, and whereby it has provided you multiple streams of income in your life.
Right. So me personally, I am involved with real estate investing. So my first secondary stream of income. So I had a 9 to 5. I then started investing in real estate. So I would have passive streams of income from rentals. And then I would also add fix and flips. So I would flip properties. And then I would occasionally do wholesaling. So right there, I would have all these 3 different streams of income within the real estate industry itself. And then people noticed and wanted to get into the industry. So I provided education. So now I have that fourth stream of income from the education. And then while I was doing my own personal business, I noticed that the students who were learning how to become real estate investors needed loans. So then I started connecting with different lenders, and then I became a lender myself. And so now I provide loans for my own personal money. So I have income stream from that. And then I also get paid from the lenders that I connect my students with. So there's another income stream from that. And then most recently, I got into the life insurance industry, and I create life insurance policies for people who are investors looking to do more deals. So if you create a life insurance policy the right way, you can use that as an asset to allow you to do more real estate deals. So I've added all of that to my life in the last couple of years, actually.
That's incredible, Hone. I got to tell you, and I think that you kind of being on the program, I mean, it's just the perfect fit because this is what you're building in your life, and also too, what's interesting is the more that you talk about what you're building, the more you share that knowledge with other people, especially folks listening to this program. The stronger it gets you, right? The more that it turns your creative juices, and also too, you might pick up a few additional folks that you can work with along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've picked multiple streams of income that piggyback off of each other. So when you guys, whoever you are listening, you may want to consider a similar strategy where they're complementary products, because this way you can sell 3 or 4 different services to one person, so that you're not working so hard. And this way you're also, you have a branding where the audience members, they know you for a specific thing, like a specific industry. If you're like, oh, I sell cars on the side, and then I also have a restaurant, and you're kind of diluting yourself. Now you can do that, but it's a harder play in the beginning. It's definitely a harder play.
So often people they obtain one sale from the prospect, and then they leave it at that, and
Correct.
they never go for the second, third, fourth sale. And meanwhile, you're really doing a disservice, right, to that individual, that you're not providing them, more solutions to problems they may be having in life.
Right, right. And you gain mastery from the complementary services. When in my life in particular, when I'm dealing with real estate investors, and then I also provide them the loans, I teach them how to use the loans, and then I also look for new products that can service new investors. And this kind of complementary ping-ponging back and forth makes me an overall better investor, because I'm helping them become better investors as well. So I gain a sense of mastery by having all these complementary products.
Yeah, and also with what teaching other people is the most effective way to grow in mastery,
Right.
and I'm sure you've found that over the course of time.
Yeah, they say, like, if you really want to know something, teach it, because
Yeah,
it's not until you try to explain something to somebody where you'll find the gaps in your knowledge. Because
yeah,
they're gonna hit you with a question, and you're gonna be like, oh, I never even considering that.
yeah,
That's one of those
absolutely.
things. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great perspective there. I spent much of my morning this morning with on the phone with a GSA auditor on one of my companies. So my wife and I sold a government contracting company in 2013, but we did an asset purchase sale. So in other words, we retained a lot of the long-term contracts we had with the federal government on a prime level, and so we still have income that comes in, 7 years after the asset purchase sale, that comes in by the way of government contracts that are occurring. The work's all getting done by other subcontractors. So just an example of passive income, if you will, an
Right.
additional stream of income. But I'm primarily, first and foremost, a mortgage note buyer. That's, creating 30-year streams of income with mortgage notes. I'm a buy and hold real estate investor. So, I have a number of properties in the DC area. Additional streams of income, book royalties, online training courses, live training courses, mentorship, and just to kind of name some. And this is kind of the empire that I've built over the course of time since 2004 when I got fired from my corporate job. So I feel like I'm at the point, Hone, where I just want to share with the world, things that I've done. It's not that I'm far from perfect, and but I'm also far from reaching my full potential.
Right.
So, and I want to take as many people up as I can as I reach for the stars, or shoot for the moon, as my 2-year-old son likes to say. And that's kind of where I'm at. And so tell me about what's your long-term play. I mean, you kind of heard it from me, and I see that you've built a very complex web. I'm not sure if it was intentional out of the gate, but you sure have built it along the way. I mean, where's the rocket ship going to?
The rocket ship is this is really just a journey for my own development. This is where I get to be a better person, living up to my potential, like using the potential. I don't want to die with as like, oh, there's Hone, the guy who had all that potential and never did anything. This is where it's a journey that I get to go on, and this is the game we get to play. If we don't play this game, then what game are we playing? It's one where we live in mediocrity, where we're not going for it. We're not seeing how far we can strive. How do we know what our limitations are if we don't butt up against it? So this is more not a journey of, oh, one day I'm gonna hit $100 million and I'm going to have this many in assets and this and this. It's not like that for me. It's more so, who am I going to become through this journey? Who am I going to meet? Who's going to influence me throughout this journey? And then how will I be an old man who's very happy with who I've become as a human being? And I think the best way to force this change is through business, because it challenges you like nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you hit this on a full-time basis. You're fully committed with what you do.
Yes.
And so what do you see for yourself? Do you see yourself going deeper into the industries you're currently in and kind of building that out with your clientele, or do you see yourself venturing into other areas?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely venture into other areas for sure, and as well as go deep into these ones. And then here's the thing that I think a lot of people get stuck at. They're looking for that perfect thing to get into. They're like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do that. Well, the only way you're going to know is by trying it. So try it, go deep with it. And if you don't like it, then change it. That's okay. It's okay to do that. So will I go deeper with the different things that I'm doing? Sure. Will I do this for the rest of my life? I have no idea, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that things will change in my life. They always do. They always do. Right?
That that's like it's very telling what you're talking about here, because so many individuals, they kind of see what their aspirations are, they set some goals, and they never move out of the starting gate because they don't have the perfect formula down,
Right.
or they don't have the foundation laid down. But what you're saying is that you need to figure out what you want to obtain and then gain movement. You need to get traction going, and then you learn along the way. Now, self-educate as much as possible to mitigate the lessons learned, but movement is the most significant piece.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hearing.
this is a discovery process for yourself. You're not going to know whether you like it or not until you actually do it. You don't know if you like vanilla ice cream until you eat vanilla ice cream. Now, you can research the thing that you're about to get into, and so you can learn more about it. And then this way, when you're in the business, you're actually delivering value. That's the most important part of this whole thing, right? You have to deliver value, but once you get to that level of where you can deliver value, then you try it and see if you like it. And then you also will change. You will evolve, hopefully, in your life. And as you evolve, the things that you like and things you dislike will also evolve with you.
Yeah, it was interesting when my wife and I started the government contracting company. Nobody really comes out of comes out of the closet and says, I love the federal government. I want to sell to them in all their infinite bureaucracy and and everything. Like, you don't do that. However, when you sell to the largest buyer of goods and services in the world, what you learn is they have really deep pockets, and you can get sole source contracts whereby I don't have many competitors that I have to go up against to obtain certain contracts. So you kind of learn all the pluses involved, and then it changes your framework, your thought process, changes your thought process on the whole thing.
No, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. So there are things that you won't find out that you like until you actually do it. And so that's the thing. Don't get wrapped up in your fear. A lot of your fear comes from the unknown. So your job as an entrepreneur is to figure out what it is that you need to know so that you can get over that fear. Fear is going to cripple us. We're going to live our whole life and not actually really live, right? We're just waiting to die. And I find that with a lot of different people, they're just waiting for the day to be over and to go into the sandbox. And that's not a great way to live. So get over the fear by getting educated, learning as much as you can about an industry, and then at some point just pull the trigger, sign on the dotted line, and move forward. And if you hate it, it wasn't a waste of your time. You evolved, you learned a lot of things, and then you also figured out that, okay, I don't like this for this particular reason. And so you can go on from that.
Yeah, I've mentored this one lady. She was one of the first proteges I had, and literally by the time we were done with the 6-month mentorship program, she determined that note working on distressed mortgage notes was not for her. However, she literally took all the resources, all the learnings that she went through with myself, and applied it towards buying turnkey rentals.
Right.
And so she was able to vet the tenants and vet the partners and everything else using all the tactics and everything else. So yeah, good things can happen when you just move forward and you commit and you self-educate while you're committing. What's interesting is that when I mentor people, I find that half the time I'm working on them psychologically, not so much the mechanics of what the actual, process is in real estate investing and note investing, but you're working on their mindset and their fears and other obstacles that are holding them back from their reaching their full potential.
Right. Right. They're that complementary skill sets that they wouldn't have gained otherwise unless they got into something. And so those skill sets, who knows how it's going to apply? Take Steve Jobs and Apple computers, for example. Well, he took that calligraphy class in college, which then allowed him to create beautiful fonts for the Macintosh computer. If it wasn't for that complementary skill set, the Macintosh wouldn't have such beautiful fonts and stand out in that regard. So we don't know what we're going to pick up and then use later in our life, but just be open to that idea. And the only way you're going to pick up more things is just to try more things and go out there.
Yeah, and not that just holds true with any form of additional income that you're looking to build for yourself. I think that first step is always the self-reflection step, and kind of looking within yourself, figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses are, figuring out what resources you have to apply towards multiple streams of income, building schedules for yourself, which comes into time management, and setting it up as a true undertaking, as if you're a true business. I think that's really important out of the gate.
Yeah, there's a concept going out around now that's have an upside no matter what. Meaning, sure, you're going to try this venture and you may not gain the actual goal that you are looking to gain, but make sure that there are things you will take away. So make sure that there's an upside no matter what. As an example, like you were saying, where the woman took the course on notes and then she realized, like, well, I don't want to do notes, but now I know how to underwrite all kinds of real estate investments. So that in itself is a win, even though what she intended to do isn't what she ended up doing.
It's interesting when, when you're working on multiple streams of income, you kind of look at it like you're expanding your service to society.
Yeah.
Do you ever kind of think of it that way? You're helping more people.
Yeah.
It's not just about, so at some point, yes, it's about providing comfort, providing security for you and your loved ones, but there's so much more that goes on, and you're affecting people's lives. I mean, if you think about the people that you're training, they can go out and do, amazing things based on things that they know now that they didn't know before. When you're helping people with insurance products, now they have protections in case of the unforeseen. But you also work with them with insurance so they can use that as an investment vehicle to grow wealth, right? I take
Right. Yeah, I was gonna actually say that it's less about that protection thing. Everybody hears life insurance and they immediately think that, oh, protection for your loved ones. Don't you care for your family? Aren't they worth it? And I'm like, I don't use that at all. This has nothing to do with the protection piece. This has everything to do with where you take money, you throw it in this bucket. We put a nice wrapper around it called life insurance. And because you put that wrapper around it called life insurance, now we have asset protection and tax benefits. And you can always reach your hand into the cookie jar and you can always take money out of it. And while the money is in the cookie jar, it is multiplying at a really fast rate. And so you put the money in here, it's growing at the fast rate. Anytime you need it, you can take it out. And then what's cool is when you reach retirement age, you can take money out of the cookie jar for retirement. So it really has nothing to do with the protection piece because I don't expect you to die. And the insurance company actually doesn't expect you to die either. That's how they make their money, right? It's statistically proven that you're not going to die until you're very, very old. So
Yeah.
that's the name of the game, really. How do you become a better real estate investor? And that this whole idea of multiple streams of income, I love it. I love it because that is, I think, the ultimate protection right there. Having all of these streams of income, that's the protection piece. You don't need to have your life insurance to protect you per se because you got all of these other streams of income. You got all these assets. You got notes. You got real estate. You name it, right? And that is where the income is going to come from. That's what's going to protect your family, in my opinion. Now, if you do die, there's that death benefit, of course. That's why it's life insurance.
So less focus on some future occurrence, more focus on building comfort and security in the present tense through cash flow.
Yeah. Um, oh, the one thing before I forget, because it's been popping in and out of my head. And then every time I wanted to bring it up, I would forget to talk about it. It's at the look for the light at the end of the tunnel. So people take on different ventures because it sounds exciting right now. And so they're watching, oh, Martin says create additional streams of income. Fantastic. And they'll take that idea and they'll run with it, but then they might do things that doesn't have a bright light at the end of the tunnel. And what I mean by that is, okay, if you do this for the next 5 years, what's it going to be like? And then if that light at the end of the tunnel isn't that bright, you may not want to start at all, right? Don't even begin because there's no upside to it. As an example, you might take on a new job. I used to be an engineer. I was an engineer for 5.5 years, and my boss used to threaten me. You know what he would threaten me with? He would say,
What's
Hone,
that?
if you do a really, really good job, one day you will have this job. I was like, oh,
Oh.
no, no, no. I don't want any piece of that. I don't want any piece of that, right? Because if I looked at the light at the end of the tunnel, what was there for me? Oh, I get to be you? That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, and then 10 more years down the line, I get to be him or her? I don't want that either, right? So the light of the end of the tunnel wasn't very bright for me. Now, somebody else watching this, they might be like, "Oh, that's fantastic. I would love to have the corner office. I would love to be the manager of the blah blah blah." Not for me. So look at the end of the tunnel, see how bright that light is. See if you're even attracted to what's over there.
I would say also too, see how much you have control over the outcome. Or the circumstance. So in other words, the light at the end of the tunnel, yeah, you can move up corporate management, but you still have one stream of income. You're still susceptible to a boss, whether he or she likes you, or whether it's beneficial for the company to let you go to save money, because the higher up you move in the food chain, the more you make, the more you are right on the chopping block.
Right.
When budget cuts come down the pipe.
Right.
So you have no security. I invest. I have one rule with investing, and that is I only focus on assets that cash flow and that I have control over. So everything has to fit into that model, or else it's just not. It's not for me. So placing placing 100% of your income stream on a company whereby you don't even know if the CEO is frugal, is wasting money, is partying in Vegas with hookers, and everything. You just don't know what's going on, or with that company at the end of the day. Then that's just no way to be.
Right. And the other thing to be mindful of, in addition to obtaining additional streams of income, consider how much time that additional stream of income is going to take you, and if there's a leverage effect or multipliers, anything like that, because somebody might listen to this and say, "Oh, I have additional income streams, Martin. I Uber, right? I Uber, and that's an additional stream of income." And it's like, okay, well, let's go back to what I just said. What's the end? What's the light at the end of the tunnel? You just do more hours, your car breaks down, like you quit because somebody throws up in your car and you're just like, no more. Like, what's the light at the end of the tunnel? And you only get paid for the drives that you do, so it requires your time to be there. There is no leverage. You can't even hire an assistant to drive for you, right? So that you have to be very careful with your time as well. So don't misconstrue this message of just having multiple streams of income, because you want to see, does this multiple stream of income require all of my time in order to get paid for it? So it's a
Yeah,
different way of looking at it.
absolutely, absolutely. So is the stream of income something you have to actively work at and invest time in, or is it on a passive level?
Right.
Or is it a
Yeah.
combination of the two?
Right. And also, even if it does require your time, then the next question is, does it have a multiplier? And what I mean by a multiplier is, if I am going to sell you a policy, Martin, a life insurance policy, you're like, "Hone, tell me more about this life insurance policy." So I have to spend the time to tell you about this policy. And that is me giving of my time. But when I get you on a policy, I may actually not only have you on a policy, but your wife on a policy and your kids on a policy, because I don't, again, this is not protection for if you die. I expect your kids to live until the age of 100. This is an investment vehicle for you to give money to your kids in a way that's tax beneficial and asset protected. So when I'm talking to you, the multiplier effect is not only did I sell you a policy, but your whole family has a policy now. Right.
Yeah.
So there's that multiplier. And then also you may tell other people in your neck of the woods, and then they buy policies, and then you may come back to me and say, "Hone, I want another policy." So now I don't have to explain it to you again. You already know what the policy does. And once you get the one and you see how great it is, you're gonna be like, "I want another one." And then so you get another. So multiplier effect.
Also, too, with the multiplier effect is is how you can build your company, how you can build your operation. So, in other words, can you take on a 1099? Can you take on a virtual assistant? Hire an employee, bring on a strategic partner that can help you with scalability and working that. So yes, something may require time, but does it have to be your time?
Right, right. And can I leverage technology? Can I do a YouTube video? Can I send a recording? Can I do a webinar? Can I do a pre-recorded webinar that I play every single month? So all of those different things, because what I find is a lot of the questions that I have to answer are the same questions over and over and over. But if I create a webinar that answers those frequently asked questions, then again, my time is taken back. So I'm leveraging technology, and then it has that multiplier effect. That combination, it's a win. It's a win. So when you're listening to this YouTube, whoever you guys are, think about those things and think about what the light at the end of the tunnel is, because these are all important considerations. But what Martin wants is for you guys to have multiple streams of income.
What you want too. I mean, that's what you want too. And so every sentence you uttered during our time together now, you could do a whole segment on. I mean, just what comes into my mind is Udemy. I mean, whatever you know in your job or your schooling, you could do a Udemy training session and sell that with the multiplying effect. And, if it's something where you brand it correctly and you promote it, you could have passive income as a result.
Right.
So that's just one way. Or build an online training course. Which I did. I put it on Teachable platform, and it sells while I sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely do that. And then you can also have the upsells and downsells. So if somebody buys your course, maybe they want to buy your book. And then if they buy your book, maybe they want to get your coaching or whatever else you have to offer. So upsells, downsells, sideways sells. Yeah, having.
How about this? How about having an income stream? How about having a sales funnel that works itself, where there's no selling involved. So imagine like I'm working on my 5th book now. Imagine the book I'm paid to advertise. People pay me to advertise what I do. So they buy my book, and then it sells them to take the course.
Exactly.
And then you take the course, and it sells them to take the mentorship. You take the mentorship, and it sells them to do deals with me. And it's just, and then now I have an income fund. So some of these folks are investing in my income fund. So again, I'm providing, none of this works if you're not providing value along the way, right? It's the value chain. So as long as you do that. However, I'm part of every piece of the value chain.
Exactly. And that's a wonderful way to build it. That's a very wonderful way to build it, right? So for those listening, think about that. What value can you add, and what value chain can you create where you're getting a piece every step of the way?
You like that one?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but again, if I didn't come from a place of service and I didn't give everything I know. So when people connect with me, when people take a course with me or what have you, they realize I'm not holding back. So how many times have you gone to a workshop, real estate wise, and they're holding back the nuggets, right? And they're like, if you really want to know the true secrets of real estate and building a real estate empire, you truly need this next level. You need the pyramid program, or whatever. And you're like, well, all you did was feed off my emotions. But if you just go and sit someone down and just slap them around with hard knowledge for 8 hours straight, and where their head is spinning because you've given them so much content, then that's just the way where you kind of build loyalty and trust that way.
Yeah. Tony Robbins calls it having 1,000 raving fans, right? If you just can build 1,000 raving fans, you're set for life, because those raving fans will come back and purchase anything that you have for sale, and they'll both purchase multiples. So like Martin, you may have raving fans who read your book, and then when you're like, oh, I have an audio version now. Oh, well, I already have the hardback, but I'm going to buy your audio as well. Or they buy the audio, and because they're going to go see you speak live, they're going to buy your hard copy so that you can sign it. Right. And so now they have the hard and the audio just because they're a raving fan of yours, because you've added so much value to their lives. So yeah, that's a very cool strategy.
Well, Hone, how can people get in touch with you to kind of learn more about what you're about and what you're doing?
Well, I'm building my new website. It's honesloans.com, honesloans.com. So check me out there, and you can email me.
Spell it out.
HOANSLOANS.com. honesloans.com.
Awesome. And my website, noteinvestingmadeeasier.com. And Hone, thanks for being on with me.
Yeah, absolutely, Martin. This was great. Thank you for having me.
Yep, you're welcome.